It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2, I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Well, here he is, everybody. Jeff Kolpack joins us on a Monday morning. I'm wearing my Mo State maroon today.
I see that.
With the news that the Bears will make official in about 3.5 hours, Jeffrey, that they are moving to the big time. They are going FBS. I was not surprised. Were you?
Yes.
Were you?
I was. I mean, it's Mo State.
Well, they've been talking about it for 2 years.
I know, but to actually see the news, I thought it was almost a little reality check, which unleashed some emotions in me in that when I wrote a column in 15 minutes after I saw that. It's like, okay, I was laying low. This NDSU let Mike McFeely take the NU, the leaders of the marketing department, and NDSU take the reins of NDSU's FBS publicity or push or whatever you want to call it. I sort of laid back. But when I saw Mo State, this is reaching a point where FCS is just continuing to go the way that the old Division II did in 1990s, almost like more like a Division III model. I feel like the FCS model is trending toward a Division II model now. It's a gut feeling. All the good programs are leaving. You have NDSU, South Dakota State, Montana's. We've been talking about that for so long here now that the FCS is just continuing to lose steam. It's losing, I think, interest in the fan base in these 4 schools. Also, South Dakota State's still drawn pretty well. But I think by and large, Fargo, NDSU, attendance is going this way.
Yep.
I mean, those are the facts.
Well, now the not good programs are leaving FCS. That's, I think, more of your column. That's your point.
Yeah, and then who's coming in? Mercyhurst.
Yeah.
I didn't know where in the heck Mercyhurst University was.
Yeah.
Erie, Pennsylvania. Lindenwood University.
West Georgia is a FCS school this year. The facts on Mo State, we have a graphic on this, and I dug this up over the last 15 years on Missouri State football, and this is ugly with a capital U. Eric, go ahead and bring the graphic up when you can. 62 wins over the last 15 years. 2 playoff appearances, 0-2 record. They had the Valley Championship of 2020, Kolpack, when, of course, the co-championship was South Dakota State and UND that year in the COVID spring of 2020. Under 500 win percent. We've been there, I don't know how many times. I love Springfield.
9, 10 times.
Springfield's probably next to Fargo, I'd say, maybe the nicest of the cities we get to go to in the Missouri Valley ranks. The football product has been abysmal. That's the best way to say it. They've not been good.
I've always felt that, though, it's an underachieving program.
No doubt. Petrino tried to tap into that when he got hired.
Even when he had it going, Bobby Petrino, they still failed to win
They didn't win a playoff game.
They should have won. They were favored.
They lost to UT
Southeast
Martin.
Missouri State.
No, it was UT Martin.
UT Martin.
UT Martin they had in Springfield and lost that game as a favorite in the 2021 fall season.
However, I'll leave you with this on this, or maybe we won't leave this. We could be talking about this for 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going to go for a bit.
I'll say this, that maybe Missouri State will be better in FBS than it was in FCS. Following the South Dakota State model.
I know.
South Dakota State for years. Yeah. My friends in Sioux Falls, and you remember this if you're the veteran fans, for years in Division II were average at best. They were a 5-6, 6-5, 6-5, 4-7, maybe 7-4. Just an average program at best. Go Division I, waking up the fan base. You wake up the fan base. You get donors. You wake up the money people. And they've been way better in FBS or FCS than they ever were in Division II. Maybe Mo State. Maybe that'll be their ticket.
We got texted by a Power 5 coach, I'm going to remain unnamed, over the weekend. Said Missouri State has become a more attractive job than a Dakota school overnight. Said I think they can get to 500 every other year. Lower group of 5 is not very good, and Missouri State will attract more kids now from what has always been a great recruiting base. And that's the thing.
What's it like to be able to read text messages these days?
Kolpack, you're slumming it without a phone.
18 hours. I feel like I have no idea what's going on.
Your
phone is missing.
But you know what? You experience so much more. You're not attached to this,
Zen,
right?
Serenity now.
That's the thing. We've always talked about that. We've been Springfield. You're right between. St. Louis isn't that far away. Chicago not that far. You should be able to get really good football players to come to that. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Conference USA now, and I've always said it's the island of misfit toys, but you look at it, if you're a Bison football fan, you wrote about this, and Mike and I have, you look, there's the league map, Kolpack. I mean, there are schools there we know, Sam Houston, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw, now Mo State there. Delaware is heading in next fall. Liberty is not that far removed from being an FCS school. Beggars can't be choosers. I would say, let's go. I'd take that if they called me tomorrow. I'd say, yep,
again,
we're there.
And it's easy for us to say we don't have to pay for it.
No.
We don't have, I mean, that's not our,
No.
We're the media guys. Even if we could pay for it, we get fired for ethical reasons. But I mean, it's easy to say. It's easy to write and say this is what you should do. But the reality is Joe Chapman forced, let's just call it like it is. I think he pretty much insisted that this program go Division I.
Yeah.
And they did that without even a conference. It went independent with no real plan in place. The hope was getting in the Big Sky.
Right.
And they thought, then when that didn't happen, Gene Taylor almost passed out on his kitchen floor from disappointment.
Ended up being the best thing for them, though, in the long run. You and I have both, I think we both talked with Dave Cook a bit. I know I have a bit on this subject as well. The new president, I can't say new, he's been there for a couple of years at NDSU. He knows his sports. He came from Kansas, which he understands the landscape of where things are at. I don't know what he can do right now. Matt Larson said on Bison 1660 last week when he was on with those guys that he firmly believes whenever the House NCAA decision comes down that the revenue sharing is going to happen, and that's going to trickle down where I don't know how many times we've heard this, but just bear with me, that then the haves are going to go do their thing, and then that second tier will be created with the group of 5, and maybe those 4 schools you just mentioned, the 2 Dakotas and the 2 Montanas. And coming with us, we're going to have our own group of 5 championship, because I firmly believe the group of 5 is going to get left out of the big boy championship. You know that little nuggets out there, hey, there's the automatic bid for the top group of 5 champion. They're going to close ranks on that.
Like Liberty this year?
Right.
Yep.
They're going to close ranks on that. It's going to be the Power 3, Big 12, ACC, and SEC, Big 10 are going to do their thing. And
how long have you heard that, though?
We've been hearing this for 10 years. But now it looks, whenever this decision, and the NCAA is going to lose. They've lost every decision when it's come to NIL. Every court case they have lost. They've been boat raced in it, actually, that they're going to lose this one as well. Is that anything for a Bison fan to cling to? I don't think so. Hope is not a thing to me to hang on like a life support raft. You need something tangible to cling yourself to here.
This program it's FBS in nature. The only FCS thing about this program
is the division it plays in. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The facilities.
Nope.
And the indoor football practice.
it's better than
Alston
group
payments.
Of 5. Yep.
Collective now, the green and the gold collective. I think the Fargo Dome is going to be renovated.
I would hope so.
It will be.
You know,
it'll be on the ballot again.
June now it's going to be November.
November.
I think, right?
It'll be on the ballot again, and I think they might get new seats, Dom.
Whoa!
Are you okay?
Yeah, knocked me over on that.
Yeah.
But I think there was more reaction to your column and us on the air on Friday to this news than any of the other ones I can remember. Because people they associate Mo State. They know they're not very good. Like, wait a minute, they're going and we're not. Like, what's happening here? And I don't know if there's a good answer. I really don't. I'll ask this before we go to break. And I didn't get an answer to this out of the league office. Can they still call themselves the Missouri Valley without a team in Missouri? You know what I mean? There's no team there anymore.
Well, let's call it teams closest to the Missouri River.
Well, it was the old Gateway Football Conference. Remember, the Bison were in that. That was the first couple years they were in it.
The league office is still St. Louis.
Right. But there's no school in Missouri anymore. That's the map now.
Lindenwood.
I don't think so. I think it's your old friends in Greeley.
Yeah.
I do. I got roasted for that last week. I put it out there when they got added, and you tweeted about the dissolution of Big Sky Golf. And I know this is not going to excite anybody because you're like, well, wait a minute, Dom, it's the old NCC. But if I'm Josh Fenton, the commissioner of the league, I need another school. I call up my good friend Patty Viverito and say, hey, will you do me a solid and add Northern Colorado as your 11th football school, and then we've got our 10th Summit League member.
Aren't we owed a favor from getting Missouri State and allowing them in?
Murray, you mean?
Yeah,
Murray State.
For the Missouri Valley Conference.
Correct.
Well, it's fair, right?
Northern Colorado, by the way, has been, I think, worse than Murray in FCS football. They've been bad. So, again, I'm not sitting here saying this is a great addition. What do they add other than it's another school? But when all the presidents, especially there are similar Summit League presidents that are also Missouri Valley Conference presidents saying we need another school, that one in Greeley.
Nice travel partner for Denver in the Summit. It makes the most sense for the Summit.
Right. There's no upside football. Patty can sit there and say, we're going to stay with 10, which is fine. I mean, then you're playing everybody except one, which is what it used to be for the longest time. Do they need to add? In your mind, the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, the Valley football does not need to add. I think that's obvious.
I think they will. I don't think they're going to stand pat. Not in this era anymore. You can't. I think Greeley gets more appealing by the day, personally.
And if you're Missouri Valley football, you're thinking, okay, who's next for FBS here?
Right.
Need more schools.
Exactly. You got to protect yourself.
Then if you're Northern Colorado, do you want to join that ship?
The Big Sky would enthusiastically kick them out. I can tell you that right now. Let's break. Much more on this and Eli Green's new home as well. Not a surprise where the former Bison wide receiver announced on Friday night. We'll discuss that much more. We wrap up hour one on a busy Monday morning. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Our guy Sam Herder has a column on the Mo State stuff, and this is echoing right what you said about asking, well, if they can't compete in FCS, why go FBS? The answer is an FBS move could get Missouri State football out of its rut. The Bears were going nowhere in the FCS, largely irrelevant except for a spurt of 2 playoff appearances in 2021. Maybe an FBS move generates more regional attention, gets students and alumni more engaged, sells
and better
more tickets.
recruiting and generate more revenue, all those things.
Exactly what we're talking about. And it's all about location. It really is. If the Bison were in Missouri or somewhere, they would be an FBS program by now. I believe that. Totally.
And again, every time we've gone there, you look around and go, why is this program not good? And why doesn't anybody go to the games? It's a nice school. It's a big school, too. What is it, like 20,000 students?
Correct.
I mean, it's a big school. It's a nice campus.
Right. When they renovated, and we were there in October, they did the renovation, I want to say about 10 years ago, because when we first went, that 3-0 game,
I
mean, that was about the bottom of football as I can remember for the stadium.
2009?
2010 was that 3-0 loss at Mo State. And the Bison won again in 2012 and barely won that game. After that, they renovated. And since it's been a nice improvement there, they've put more money. Kyle Motes, we got to know fairly well, who was the former chair of the FCS playoff committee. Cliff Smart, who was at Clemson, is now the president. He's outgoing and wanted one last stamp of...
Boy, he sure did it in athletics.
He got it. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. And I just don't know what the next step is. There's a lot of question marks on that. I got a bunch of emails to get into. I want to read a couple for you here to get your reaction on some of these before we wrap up our segment. Email comes in on this. Down the power conferences contain approximately 60 schools right now. We know they don't like sharing NCAA tournament revenue with the mid-majors. We know they're doing all they can to limit mid-majors from getting into the tournament. My question for Matt Larson is, what does the revenue stream look like for the group of 5 if the power conferences decide to do with basketball what they've already done with football? Clearly, they don't need the NCAA. If they peel off, what does funding look like for lower conferences? That's a great question.
Yep.
I don't know the answer. I don't even know the answer on television either, because they will still get televised, but they're not going to get the kind of monster. CUSA's deal with ESPN and
what is
Fox is not great. It's not. I need a second to look it up, or maybe Eric can do that. It's not overwhelming. The most recent one they got. That makes a lot of sense. I wish I had better news. I don't on that. That's the location goes a long way to it. And frankly, to your point and to what Mike and I have talked about, I'm not sure how loud the overtures have come from the north side to say we want to insert ourselves into the conversation of being an FBS school.
Do you go out there and say publicly, hey?
Well, did not Joe Chapman do that and Gene Taylor say to get the overtures out there? We want to be Division I.
I think. Well, publicly, God, that's a long time ago. I want to say that they led it to they hired CSNL to do the study, consultant firm, and Car Sports, and they hired these guys to do the projections and everything. I think Chapman let that fester and see the results.
Right.
And then when the results came back, it wasn't long. Because I know I broke the story.
Yeah.
That it wasn't long that NDSU said it's positioned to do Division I athletics, and at the time it said it could project raising $7 million, which is now $25 million.
Yeah, to me, the train has already left the station on this. It's way down the tracks. I don't know if they can catch up now. I don't without significant change to the college football world, which may be coming. I mean, but we've heard this for however in a day. We're in it. This is now the new jumping off point, though.
Would CUSA even take the Bison?
I think they would.
I think so.
I think they would do it, absolutely.
I mean, are we assuming? Is that an assumption? That
well,
you remember, you just talked about geography. It ain't our friend, brother.
No, but they just added Delaware. I mean, Delaware's out there on an island, and the only thing close to them is Liberty. And Lynchburg, Virginia, and Newark, Delaware are not necessarily close by. They would make it work. I would think
football only. Or everything.
I think you take the whole. If it's you got to go, gotta. At this point, I think it's the whole enchilada now.
Boy, that's a budget jump.
Yep. But they just got. What do they got? I think 60 some odd million for the Alston. They got 50 some odd million in that indoor. There's money out there. I think there's untapped money for people that want to have FBS next to their name. Much like you've written about in your book about there was money out there for Division I think there's more money out there for FBS, for that connotation, that are just, all right, we've done the FCS bit. We've dominated that. Mm-hmm. Let's get our toes in the other water and see what. I think there are other doors that would open up there. I believe that. Maybe I'm way off. You know those money people. Don't you think they would open up the checkbook if it's, hey, now you actually have a chance to play Alabama. You could play Texas. You could play Wisconsin. You could play Minnesota. Those avenues would be there.
The Gophers.
But they're never going to play. The Badgers or the Huskers are never going to play them.
If the Bison go FBS, would the Gophers even still play them?
They'd be more palatable to play them now because it wouldn't hurt them as much as it would. I mean, look at Pete Thamel saying that the Colorado AD should be fired for scheduling the Bison. I mean,
that story you did went to Pluto.
Well, by the way, I got a text message. Todd Phelps, the deputy AD, said, hey, thanks, Pete Thamel, for that. Trying to schedule any other FBS games because now this story's out there.
Is Oregon going to buy out now?
I had several people come up to me after the story went out. I'm still surprised that Colorado didn't try to get out of this game. And it goes back to the theory on this, and we got to roll, that Deion Sanders has no idea about North Dakota State. He doesn't. And he won't until literally they play the game that day.
But he was in the FCS for 3 years. You think he would have? Some sort of clue.
He's got his sights on bigger and better things now. I mean, from what I'm told, they moved the game up. Deion wanted extra time to get ready for Nebraska after that.
If you're NDSU, you just lay in the weeds, man.
Yeah.
Lay low. Yep. Let all the drama happen in Boulder from here until August 29th. Let the portal drama, all these. I mean, Deion's getting attacked.
Yep. He brought it on himself by what the comments he had about the guys that have left. Yep. And his son, frankly. What they've said about the 40-some guys.
You just don't do that.
He's a different character on this. He's going to do his own thing.
I'm sure he'll give you an exclusive.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we got it all lined up.
I'm sure. I don't think he gives media interviews at all, does he?
I think he does his weekly thing, his mandatory deal. But beyond that, I don't think so.
The beat writer for is it the Denver? No, who covers him again?
Post. Boulder, yeah, Denver Post does. Yeah.
Does a beat writer get any access to Deion Sanders? I don't think so.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
I don't think so.
Real quick, the news came Friday night. Eli Green will transfer to Iowa State. I don't think all of us are that surprised knowing the connections with Tyler Roll and Noah Pauley both being in Ames.
Yeah, I guess the question is,
How
now,
much?
Yeah.
How much he got?
What are you getting?
I'm curious about that.
Who made the first contact?
Oh,
Is that a fair question?
Of course, it's a fair question. I don't think we're going to get an answer.
No.
On that. I mean,
it seems a little suspicious, but
Eli had 20 some odd schools, but I mean, when we saw the ones that he said these are the only ones I'm talking to, there were a couple that stood out right to me: Minnesota and this one at Iowa State. Noah Pauley is a huge reason why Eli had the kind of success that he did. Not to discount what Steve Crutchley did with him this past season, but he worked with him for the first 2 years that he was on campus. Did Noah Pauley?
No, I mean,
Tyler Roll.
Where is he going to fit in the whole scheme of things on the receivers? I don't know what they have coming back. I have no clue.
I'm not a great Iowa State wide receiver.
But you've gone from you're going to be the primary guy. You're going to get 50 catches or certainly plenty of targets.
Correct.
Will you get the same down there? I have no idea.
We'll see. There's only been a handful of guys, maybe less than that have left and performed. Siegel's probably the one stand out to me that he's done really well.
Jazeer Cox had a good year.
His second year at West Virginia.
Had a good year second year.
Yeah.
But by and large, it's been
hit and miss.
20%, 15%.
We'll see. Kobe Johnson's coming back for his final year at Colorado State.
Don Jones hasn't really produced there.
No.
Courtney Eubanks hasn't really produced in Coastal.
I'm curious to see what happens with Eli at Iowa State this upcoming fall. I know you got to roll. Thanks for doing this, and good luck in getting the phone.
Can I have your phone?
I kind of need it. We have a couple around here you can find here. You've got freedom, man. You're detached from the world.
Send an email out. I'm off the grid, man.
So today will be the breaking news that North Dakota State has accepted an offer
I'm
to
sure.
go to Conference
And I'll be
USA.
driving down 8th Street having no clue to what's going on.
Good to see you, bud.
See you.
Jeff Kolpack joining us on this Monday. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll start hour 2. Hettinger Scranton's Kyle Berwick, one of the all-time great wrestlers in the state, about returning home for his final year of eligibility. We'll do that when hour 2 of Hot Mike begins right after this.